So 5 suspects have been arrested following that cash-in-transit heist in Boksburg this morning. Police say that 2 of the vehicles were shot at before they were bombed. And it's allegedly the second attack on security members belonging to the trade union FEDUSA. Is working in these conditions simply part of the job description, or should more be done to protect security guards in these situations? Joining us to discuss the safety of members is, of course, unionist Dennis George. Good evening to you, and thank you for talking to us. I mean, you've seen some of that footage. It's gone viral on social media. Is this just simply part of the job, or does more need to be done to protect your members? Yeah, look, this is what is actually playing itself off on a daily basis amongst our members. You would recall that in 2086 to 2007, there was 152 cash and transit heists across the country. And in these circumstances, many of our members died. And that is when we started to formulate our policy. And our policy is based on the principle that the workplace is their workplace and that the employer has a responsibility, together with the police and with our own members, to make that environment as safe as possible. Now, we've also instructed our members to say, look, the money is not more important than the lives of our people, because they are fathers, they are brothers and sisters, and we must do everything in our power to protect them. Traditionally, there has been this view, or at least a perception, that quite often, in fact, it was some of the guards themselves or the drivers who were inside job assistants in terms of how these crimes were executed. What's your response to that? Look, there was always this stories that went around, but there was no evidence to provide support, because we now know, if you look at that crime scene that you saw today, those are professional people that have planned and executed these 3 motor cars, the timing, the place, everything was worked out to military precision. And that is quite clear. You know, they had the information, whether our members give it or not, to them, because all that our members can say, for instance, what time they're going to deliver, but those are normal information. The most important thing for us is that how do we, as South Africa, respond to that? Now, we previously had a similar experience, you know, when Thabo Mbeki was president. So he called a very high-level meeting, and in that meeting, you know, we were told that the police are not going to act in a soft manner with these people. Because any person that walks in the street with an assault rifle, you can't ask him to hands up and you point a 9mm gun at him. You need to meet fire with fire. And so therefore, those people that take the risk to embark on those processes must know they stand a big chance to lose their lives, you know, as criminals. But these criminals are also people that spend lots of time planning and implementing this, and they go according to the motto, once a robber, always a robber. But for us, this thing is unacceptable. But of course, it also speaks to the failure of law enforcement agencies to deal with this kind of thing, because as you say, you can reflect back to 2006, 2007. We're back here. If given all the controversies around critical appointments in the police, particularly in the last administration, I mean, is this a reflection in a way that certainly from a law enforcement point of view, our eyes have been off the ball? Of course, you can see the most important weapon against this is military intelligence, and that is how these bands and syndicates were infiltrated in the past. So when they come onto a scene, the police are already waiting for them, and that was the reason for the success in the past. Obviously now, because the police have now neglected their responsibility, it's now critical for us to sharpen our position again, to make sure that the police have the necessary people, because you need permanent units on these things, people that is well prepared, because this is an issue of life and death. If you leave your guard down for 1 second, you can lose your life. But it's important also from a perspective, we're sitting with people that's walking in our streets, civilians and people like that that's using our streets at the same time. We must also be mindful of them. And that's the reason why I saw people were standing around that particular area. A person didn't know in a crowd who of those people were part of the cash and transit heist. Anyway. There is also the sense that, you know, these kinds of incidents pop out anywhere. There could be the Free State, as you saw in our package earlier. It could be the Western Cape, certainly Gauteng. There isn't a clear trend of where the most prevalent incidents are taking place. It seems that it's a free-for-all. Yeah, look, there's a lot of copycats that goes on with this thing because people see this thing as an opportunity. If you must know how much money there is transported every day in this country, it's quite a huge amount of money. So therefore, you have different ways of attacking this particular problem. You can be lucky it hasn't happened so frequently yet, where the people will stress the police resources to such a limit, where there might be 5 heists at the same time. So clearly that has not happened, yet, because if you should have something like that, we don't have 5 helicopters in Gauteng, we don't have vehicles to follow them up. And so therefore I think it's very important for government, for the police, for the banks, and also for the cash and transit companies and the guards to meet so that we can skill our people. Number one, it's very important. Number two, that we work together as a team and that we bring this thing under control.
Are you at least encouraged by the speed with which at least there have been some arrests from today's incident?
No, definitely we are very, very pleased. And the fact that the police could, for instance, manage to apprehend and arrest those people. I think what is going to be also important is to see who's going to be the legal firms that's going to represent those people. Because remember, I told you at the beginning, this is a professional operation. And
so
normally,
there are syndicates behind these.
And the
these
syndicates,
were just the foot soldiers.
The syndicates also have their legal firms that will protect them. You see, so there's a lot of people in South Africa that knows exactly what is going on, where it's happening, and so on. But we have to work within our legal system, that we make sure that we break up these syndicates, that we bring it to a stop, and that we restore law and order in our country.
All right, we'll see how it develops. Thank you very much for joining us. And of course, Dennis George from the Trade Union Federation, FEDUSA. Stay with us. We've got more news after this quick break.